whether you're doing well or not doing well in your own business, doesn't it always seem that there's other people who are doing better than you, that are growing faster than you, that there's something that you're missing that they've somehow figured out? If so, A, you're not alone. But B, you're going to want to listen to this hot seat episode with Will, where we talk about this problem. It's kind of this existential problem. And look, there's no answers, but I think it's an important thing to talk about. So enjoy. I hope that this helps. If nothing else, at least put your mind at ease. And then at the end, I'm going to recommend another episode for you to listen to that I think is really going to help with the problem. Will,
Yes,
you're up,
sir.
man.
All right. Hey,
Same
John.
type of thing. Who are you? What do
Uh,
you do? What are we talking
so
about?
I'm Will Marshall. I work with former athletes, and the reason being is that I'm one of them. I played soccer in college. I played at the University of Pittsburgh, and then I played at Westchester University for 1 year. And
Yeah.
then Adam, I was actually going to ask you where you living at because I heard you say you're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually know everybody from Westchester. So yeah, I'm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So it's about two
Oh,
hours from Philly. Yeah.
yeah, I know Carlisle. I crashed my car just outside of Carlisle going back to Westchester when I was a senior. So
Yeah. Turnpike?
yeah, yes, yeah, near Bedford,
Yeah.
snowstorm.
Like, I
uh,
know that intersection.
yep, yep. But yeah, so I came out of college and so when I was at Pitt, I was like a number three goalkeeper, so I didn't play much. So I was in the weight room all the time, and I found like fitness there. But I didn't know what I was going to do out of college, so I started working at a gym. I was coaching soccer, and then I went down to Virginia Tech. I was a coach there briefly. Pandemic sent me home. Went and coached professionally with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, which is second division in the United States, and then right as I left Virginia Tech, I started my online business. I actually heard you, John, on Barbell Shrugged back in 2019, driving
Oh,
back from
wow.
Philadelphia. I remember it like it was yesterday, and
Wild.
or 2020. And yeah, so then I ran my business online side by side while working for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So it's like a 10-month professional season, traveling all the time. And I was able to do that for 2 years. And then at the end of my second year, things got really difficult because my business had grown so much. And I knew one of them was going to go. And it was obviously not going to be the thing I built over 3 years. Um, so then I did coach back at the University of Pittsburgh briefly in the spring. And then I went to Portugal for a month. I don't know if you remember that I put in the group, I was asking for tips on traveling and you gave me a big list and that was awesome.
Yeah.
So I spent a whole month in Portugal, ran my business from over there, and I came back to Pittsburgh in April. And now I've just been all I do is my business. I do some coaching privately, goalkeepers. I was a goalkeeper. And so I do things here and there just to stay around it. But I'm very much full-time Marshall Fitness.
Okay. So same type of thing. I mean, I know things are going well for you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll ask you a similar question to what I asked Adam, which is uh everybody's worried about something, whether it's a legitimate worry or not, is another question. But
Yeah.
what are you worried about?
So I think the thing that comes up often for me is, and I've learned to weather it a little bit, but similar with like the conversation about leads is like I'll have it seems like it comes in waves. I'll go a week where things are really busy. I've got a lot of engagement coming my way, and then I've got a week where that's not necessarily the case. Now,
Yeah.
content wise, I've posted more than I ever have in the past 3 to 4 months because I've finally gotten used to doing it and I'm willing to put myself on camera. Um, but there's that, I see like the marketing ads that come up, like never worry about where your next lead's coming from. And I find myself thinking about that from time to time, even though I have a big lead sheet, everything like that. But
Right.
I think my worry is that because I've seen such consistent growth and I always look at history where I'm like, 2 years ago, I was at this point, and then I can look over the big picture and it's like things have only increased. But
Sure.
in the back of my mind, the concern is always that what if it doesn't? Like what if I get stuck here or something like that? And I've gotten to the point. I mean, I'm at averaging 10K months across 2023. I got there way faster than I ever thought. I set that goal for 30 years old. I'm 27, so
Nice.
I'm ahead of the game.
You're ahead of where I
But
was.
yeah, I'll write that down.
Do it.
But no, yeah. So I mean, it's really just there's so many things now. I think that I prioritize. I mean, I guess I prioritize them in a way where previously, I could do two jobs and still do this
Right.
and still manage it. But now I feel like because it's my focus, there's a lot of stuff that I am really trying to ramp up, and I just want continued growth. I'm
Right.
not a pause at a certain level type person. Like I'm gonna run this up. you know, and that's, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop.
Well, I mean, it's kind of all mind fuck, isn't it?
It
What
is.
it comes down
It
to,
is.
you know,
Uh-huh.
because it's your focus, you don't have distracting elements to take your mind off of it at
Right.
times when you should have your mind off of it. You're 27 years old, so I'm 10 years older than you.
Mhm.
In your 20s, for a lot of people, is a time to really push the envelope. I mean, you have an opportunity right now to put yourself in a position in your life where you're going to be able to live a pretty good life, you know, if you ever decide to have a family and go that way. And I can tell you, as somebody who, you know, is super fortunate to have been able to achieve that, God, it's wonderful, man. Like, I'm 37 and I've got a 6-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. To not have to miss a single breakfast or dinner with them, to be able to kick off on an afternoon or take a day off to be with them is just the most wonderful thing. I wish it for everybody. It really is beautiful. And not a lot of people have it. You know, when you're in there's a time when you're very, very young, you often have, you know, your health and you often have time. You don't often have money. When you're older, you often have money, maybe time, but you don't have your health. There's only a set kind of finite period in anybody's life where they have the opportunity of having all three, you know, time, money, health. And if you can get yourself to that point, it's pretty special. So I mean, I say that it's kind of a mind fuck because you probably see everybody else out there that's going faster than you and has figured out things that you haven't figured out. Kind of like this example that you gave me with this, I don't know what they are, leads agency, marketing agency, where it said, you know, get leads on autopilot. But did you recognize the name of that agency and how, like here's the thing, those agencies are more worried about leads than just about anybody else.
Right.
And they don't stay around for a very long time. You know, like if you see that ad again, write down their name and then do a search for them 2 years from now and see if you can still find them. Not saying that they won't be around, but my guess is they won't. Because the thing that people miss often about this feeling that everybody else is going faster than they are, has figured out something that they haven't figured out, is that at any given time, they're probably right in that somebody has figured out something to be able to move faster in that moment than they have. They found some algorithmic hack or spike or whatever, right? But that same person, the mentality of somebody who chases after those things, even if they find them, is the same type of personality that is always going to chase after those things and most often will miss. And so, but the thing is, it's so appealing to look for these things that they're always going to be replaced. And so at any given time, it appears that people are moving faster than us, but it's not a person that's always moving faster than us. It's different people each time. And that person is for a very short period of time and then either falls flat or gets burnt out or
they quit
or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And once you're around for a long time, you start to notice these trends. It's just once you've been around for a long time, you start to be able to count on two hands how many people have been doing what they've been doing for more than 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And it's actually pretty jarring, to be honest. I don't have a lot of friends that are colleagues that have been doing this for a long time because they just don't exist.
Yeah.
So that's why that's kind of at the core of a lot of the stuff that we teach here. So, I mean, this idea of like, you want to continue to ramp this thing up. To me, first thing is the same thing as what I told Adam. Like, it's time to hire somebody.
Yeah.
Like, that's step one. That to me seems like the biggest thing right now with you that you haven't yet figured out how to do. And when there's something that we know that we need to do at some point that we haven't quite figured out how to do yet, it kind of becomes a bit of like a stopping point. Like it's like a block.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so you got to just like knock down that wall. Because once you
Yeah.
figure out how to hire somebody, even if it's like nothing could hire, you're like, I could do this again. Right. And that frees
Yeah.
you up to do more. And you'll find that you just start showing up with more energy.
Yeah.
In all of the other areas of the business.
Yeah. So that's something that it has been on my mind for a bit of time now, and that's part of the reason how I ended up back here.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I think I've talked to John V's my success coach, and
Yep.
you know, we talked about programming. Like that's something that I find it to be like the busy work aspect of my business. I do the same thing. Like I have templates and I individualize, but you know, after a certain point where you're doing that for 3 years, it's like now, okay, I go through and look who needs a new program, you know, once a week, and then I'm at like 6 people, 10 people, whatever, and it's a lot. And I would like to focus my efforts elsewhere. And so I have a younger sister that does the exact same thing that I do. She was a goalkeeper. She plays right now. She's in college, and
Okay.
you know, she's always alluded to the idea of she's going to be a PA, but she's alluded to the idea of coming and working for Marshall Fitness. And I never thought, I was like, oh, that's funny, you know, whatever. But now I'm at the point where, you know, that could potentially be a thing because, you know, she's been around me for my entire life and we both
Give her
followed a
5
similar
clients.
path.
Give her
Yeah,
5 clients.
that's
See how it goes.
exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I personally have always been very hesitant to work with family.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that it's not a bad thing. A lot of people have a lot of success with it, but I would absolutely treat it the same way as I treat any new staff I bring on, which is we go for coffee a few times, then we go on a few dates, and then we decide whether we want to make a home together.
Yeah.
And I would a lot of what happens when people start working with family is because they trust the person and they love the person. They jump into like a full-time committed role with that person right away, and that can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be, I mean, because even on her part too, I mean, she is a college student and stuff like that. So it'd be something that it'd be like a slow drip thing, you know, see what she can handle. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
even if it doesn't work, you'll have the systems to know how to make it work.
Yeah. I've got some experience with it for sure.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, Will. Thank you so much.
All right, John. Appreciate it.
John again, and thank you for listening. That was a really fun one to record with Will. You know, sometimes we talk about really tactical stuff. Other times we talk a little bit more about just like the psychological aspect of this, right? And I think they're both equally important. Now, that was a recording of a hot seat for my high-end mentorship. If you are in fitness or nutrition, or you're a gym owner and you're just looking to scale online, then the mentorship might be right for you. I'm not sure. But please go to my Instagram. I'm at It's Coach Goodman. Send me a DM that just says mentor. And what we'll do is we'll have a conversation with you. We'll see whether it might be right for you, and then we'll talk about the next steps if it is. In the meantime, if you're looking for another episode to listen to, I'm going to recommend you check out episode 76. This is called FOMO, Fear of Missing Out. It's a much deeper dive into this problem of, oh my God, there are all of these things out there that I feel like I should be doing. Why am I not doing them? The world is ending. Well, I have news for you. It's not. But it's a very important topic to talk about, especially as you start to grow with your business and commit more to it. The more you expose yourself to what else is out there, the more it's going to feel like everything else out there has it figured out and you don't. And that's not all true at all. And so check out that episode number 76, FOMO. Enjoy. Thank you for listening. I hope you're doing well.